The issue here is that Homeland Security is built for you. Men of fighting age, people that know how to use a firearm, people that aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. They're scared of you. And by extension, police. That's why they're some of the most surveilled people. That's why they brainwash the cops, make them feel special, not knowing the whole time they're the main target. Just like when Hitler and Stalin and Mao took over, first thing they did was wipe out the police. All the fools that had helped them get into power. Check your history if you don't know that. It's an absolute historical fact. And they never believe it till it happens to them. But the issue here is that I have known since Bill Clinton, his last year in office, suddenly veterans all over the country couldn't buy guns. Couldn't buy their grandson at 22. They couldn't buy, no criminal record. And then we said, oh, they don't want veterans to be armed. And then it came out on one list, 80-something thousand and a couple 100,000 more. It was in the news. You can pull it up. This was in 2000. That when Bill Clinton was a lame duck and didn't care because he was going out of office, anybody who'd ever collapsed on the battlefield in Korea or Vietnam had wondered why, after 2-3 days of no sleep, they'd collapse from stress or heat stroke, or even if they'd been shot in the leg and bled real bad and passed out. They'd say, hey, you're going home, scot-free, you're done in the Army. And they'd say, what's this on my discharge form saying psychosis or post-traumatic stress disorder? Or, I collapsed from not enough water. We were out there 3 days getting hit with mortars. And because I've interviewed these people on air. And they go, sorry, no more Second Amendment for you. The VA's put out this list. And there was no judge, no jury, no law. They would just deny it. So people sued and fought it. But they still do it. And then I know famous UT football players, no criminal record, that I'll see in an event or something, and they come over and tell me, yeah, can you believe that, I'm the guy from Coach Royal's first championship team, and I can't own a gun now. No criminal record. They just say I can't have it because something in the military. And I had an honorable discharge. I didn't have a dishonorable. I don't know. They won't even tell me. I can't get off the list. And just the thousands of emails and people that come up to me and tell me about it. And you all, I'm sure, have experienced it. A lot of you out there. That's what you get by these greedy, offshore, filthy bankers. Because you're not good old boys. You're not part of the system. You understand that. You've been thinking you were part of it, and we're the good guys, and we're fighting the brown people. And no, that isn't how it works, Jack. They don't like the brown people, and they don't like you either. You understand that? And I know it's a big hot dog roasting event, and I've talked to liquor store owners and pizza chain owners, and they say when the United States is attacking Afghanistan or Iraq or Serbia, it's like New Year's, Christmas, people's other major holidays like Thanksgiving, all rolled into one. Just whiskey, pizza, barbecue, total alcoholic drunkenness, men sitting back in their chairs, loving buildings getting blown up and seeing dead bodies. Some sick mutation of male instinct aggression put on disgusting display. Hey, pal, they'd love to do that to you, too. They're the real predators. You've just been playing at being a predator. You've just been playing. This isn't a game. And I suggest you realize how much danger we're all in. If you love your family, if you're a real man, you ought to be able to uncloud your mind and face the propaganda and the brainwashing you've been living under, and you should go in there and break your conditioning. And you know how you're going to know when you break your conditioning? Because it's heavy. You're going to get nauseous. You're going to be sweating. You're going to throw up. You know what that is? That's your guts getting connected to your brain. That's your soul shining through that layer of matrix propaganda. And it's happened to all of us. When you realize the whole world you know is a lie and that your whole family's in danger, it's called a gut check. It's your body throwing up when it realizes it's under attack and it's under threat and you're being poisoned with fluoride and vaccines and the globalists know it. That's your body getting ready for a fight. That's your body saying, I need to get this out of my stomach because I'm going to go all out 110%. Throwing up isn't because you're nervous, ladies and gentlemen. It's your body getting ready to defend its very life. And if you don't have that feeling, I haven't had it in many, many years. I can be in front of, TV with 5 million people watching me, 16 million listeners on radio shows. I can be in front of a crowd of 3,000 people on national TV. It does nothing to me because I went way past that point decades ago. But I'm telling you something. If you haven't had the fear of God come over you, and if you haven't puked your guts up over what's happening, and you haven't been there, and your head isn't screwed on straight, because that's the brain getting right with the body. That's Saul of Tarsus on the road to Damascus, knocked off that horse, stumbling around, throwing up in the ditch. That's your soul coming back into your body. That's your soul that's just connected by the tiniest little flimsy golden cord that you're about to lose. And your body is so happy when that humanity comes back into it that it symbolizes the evil and the corruption and who you've been serving leaving you when your soul comes back in. And I hate to get spiritual, and that's more of an analogy, but that's really what it's like. You need to convert to liberty and freedom. You need to leave evil. All it's going to give you is hurt and weakness. All it's going to give you is the trappings of power, but rotten feet. Yeah, it's got a golden head. It's got a silver shoulders and chest. It's got a bronze stomach. It's got legs and feet of rotten clay, and it's standing on sand. That's not where you want to be going into this tempest, this storm. As great evil rises across the planet. All right, let me just blitz through news. Look at this. On terrorist watch list, but allowed to buy guns. Oh. Look at how they push it. Look at how they phrase it. Look at how they... Oh, it's so sick. When this Eric Lichtblom knows exactly what he's doing. People on the government terrorist watch list trying to buy guns nearly 1,000 times in the last 5 years, and federal authorities cleared the purchase 9 times out of 10 because they had no legal way to stop them, according to a new government report. In one case, a person on the list was able to buy more than 50 pounds of explosives. What a deception. They have nothing but contempt for their moron readers. Lots of yuppies and know-it-alls sitting up in their little sequestered ivory towers. Oh, dear God, because they know nothing about buying explosives or firearms. These gelded, domesticated, chicken-neck, weak pieces of filth. You can't buy explosives, ladies and gentlemen, unless you have a special license. And they don't sell it to you now unless you're with a major construction company or mining operation. This is a load of baloney. So they mix in, and they can't stop people buying explosives. That is a lie, and you know it, New York Times. Just like you lied about yellow cake uranium to Iraq out of Niger, Africa. Just like you lied about aluminum tubes. Just like you lie about everything, because you're of your father. And your names are all written in the book of death. And you love it. You love death. Well, I don't like you. I love life. And I will defend it. I will not sit here on my back, on my knees, sucking your boots. You control freak degenerates. The new statistics compiled in a report for the Government Accountability Office that is scheduled for public release next week draw attention to an odd divergence in federal law. People placed on the government's terrorist watch list can be stopped from getting on a plane or getting a visa, which is wrong. It's a made-up, no reason, can't find out why you're on it, into habeas corpus, into due process. But see how they sell it? It's an odd divergence of the government's terror watch list. Can be stopped from getting on a plane or getting a visa, but they cannot be stopped from buying a gun. Oh, let us all live like in New York, hiding behind 10 locks, shaking at night as the criminals and the criminal police have their ways with you. Oh. Gun purchases must be approved unless federal officials can find some other disqualification of the would-be buyer, like being a felon, illegal immigrant, and drug addict. And what this really says is, like the fellow said, if you're not a drug addict, you're not an illegal immigrant, you're not a felon, that's who they want to go after. Hell, I read the New York Times last week where they're hiring felons for Obama's city year and leap year and all these other weirdo groups in uniforms marching around with gutter snipes. They mean business, folks. And then the other, how they're training the Boy Scouts to take on the veterans, front page of the New York Times. You people really are. You want to do a red purge here in America? You hippies are really going to try this for your banker bosses? You don't know you're going to get your butts kicked? This isn't this old Russia. Bunch of hardy, hard-working Russians, but they'd lived under slavery for thousands of years, and they put up with it. This isn't China living for thousands of years under the chin. This is the United States. And we may be decadent and mind-controlled and on Prozac, but there's still the good old boy guts in there that kicked the butt of the redcoats never before defeated, that kicked the butt of the corrupt Mexican government. And my ancestors didn't put up with people's bull, and I know a lot of you out there aren't slaves either. And you got it in your guts to not be slaves. So fire up your guts.